Is your defense too predictable? Our guest today does not have that problem, and he'll tell you how he puts his kids in the best possible position to be successful each week using a multiple front defense. But first, looking for more ways to improve your defense? Check out footballdefense.com. With over 300 articles and videos, it's one of the largest resources for defensive football coaching on the internet. Visit the site and find out how you can get a free 7-day trial membership with complete access today. Hi, this is Joe Daniel from footballdefense.com, and you're listening to the Football Coaching Podcast. Today we have Jamelle Byrd with us. He's a defensive coordinator and linebacker coach for Huff High School in Charlotte, North Carolina, and their defense was a big part of their success in the 2012 season. And Coach Byrd is going to be here to talk to us today about coaching a multiple front defense. So thanks for joining us, Coach.
Hey, how you doing, Joe? I'm glad to be here.
I'm really excited to have you on and been around and talked a little bit on Twitter and some other places, and just excited to kind of get into some of the success you guys have been having down there. And congratulations. We've just been talking on kind of building that program up and making it into a successful program.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about tell us about your coaching career and how you came to be at Huff.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I started in 2009 at my alma mater high school, West Mecklenburg, which is also here in Charlotte. I coached linebackers there for a year. We had a coaching change at the end of that season. And, one of the things I've always heard from great coaches I've been around, always value pedigree, over money and, play calling duties and all those types of things. So I had a great opportunity to, go open up a new program at Huff High School, under a great head coach. So it was an opportunity I felt like I couldn't turn down. So I came over there, started coaching linebackers, in my first 2 seasons. Got promoted as defensive coordinator in my 3rd year. And, now I'm going into my 2nd season as defensive coordinator. And, we feel really good about the program that we're building. And, we're just really excited at Huff for what we're doing there.
One of the things about coming into a new program like that is it's a chance for you as a young coach to get in and get some, to get in and sort of start to elevate your career. But at the same time, it's a risk, right? Because, you're coming in to a situation where you don't know what's going to happen or what, who's going to be there.
Absolutely. The way they open up schools here in Charlotte is, they typically, give you a mix of 2 schools that are already in the area. So, we knew kind of what schools we were going to inherit from, but you don't know exactly what players you're going to inherit. So, our first year was a big, kind of just figuring out what we had. That first couple weeks were just figuring out what we had and who we could put where. So, like you said, yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but it was great. I've always felt like anytime you get a chance to open a program and start something new, it's always a great opportunity because, you can really leave your own mark on things and really, mold and build things the way that you want them to be. So I felt like it was too good of an opportunity to pass up.
Let's get into this multiple front defense, and it's one of the things that we've talked about. I kind of do the same thing or was doing the same thing this past season, running several different fronts, although we're going to, I guess, become really, really simple now because we got a lot of kids who can run, but they haven't played a whole lot of football. So we're kind of going away from it. But tell me a little bit about your multiple front defense. You're basing out of a 4-3 and then working from there?
Absolutely. We started out as a 4-3 front. We've kind of evolved over the past, 2 years to like a 4-2-5. We have an Okie front, which is our 3-4 is what we call it. We also have, dime front. We have, a 3-3 stack package. We try to basically just match up with who we're going to see week to week. So, it's more of a personnel thing for us than it is, us saying, this is what we're going to run. We've always been, a big stickler and just trying to match up with what the opponent's trying to do, and if the 3-3 stack fits us best that week, then that's what we'll do. The 4-2-5 fits us best that week, then that's what we'll do, So that's kind of how we've evolved. And, we've got pretty smart kids, so they pick up things pretty fast. But we're not really doing a whole lot different out of each package. We're still running the same coverages, so it's not a lot they have to pick up.
And that's one of the things I want to get into with this is how you game plan and how you decide what you're going to run. But I think you bring up an important point with this, because a lot of coaches are probably saying, my gosh, our kids can't do that. Can't do all these different things. But when you are setting up a multiple front defense like this, you really have to make sure, and how have you made sure that your kids aren't doing a ton of different things at each position?
Absolutely. And, and like I said, we base everything out of the 4-3. That's where everything started for us, since 2010. So that's what we based everything out of. And, we've just kind of branched off from there. The way we run cover 4 in our 4-2-5 is no different than the way we run cover 4 in our 4-3 or our 3-4 or our 3-3 stack package. We might have a different player in there doing it, but it's still the same exact coverage. So there's not a whole lot different that they're doing. And, we've always just prided ourselves on, playing the matchups from week to week. We try to match up well with teams. So, that has a lot to do with why we've gone to, being a multiple front defense.
Let's talk a little about the coverages. You mentioned that it's basically the same whether you're in 4-3 or 3-3 stack or whatever the case may be. How do you make sure that coverage is going to match all of your different fronts?
Well, basically, Joe, we play a cover 4 base most of the time, and it's like a cover 4 robber base. A lot of people would call it, and the responsibilities of everybody is pretty much the same. It's just based on what front we're in. Based on what front we're in, will determine who's our who's playing number 2 and who's robbing number 1 and who's doing those types of things. And it's just something that we work on. Something that we do in practice. That we picked up from the University of Alabama when we went to a coaching clinic. Is when we game plan, we practice against a team's first down plays, on Monday, and just strictly their first down plays. And on Tuesday, we practice against all their second down plays. And on Wednesday, we practice against all their third down plays. And on Thursday, we practice against it all. So it gives us a chance to really work on all our packages and get our kids really comfortable and really secure in what we're doing defensively.
I've never heard any. That's an excellent way to package things together. I'm writing that down, but to practice against first down plays one day and second down the next day that's a really good way to approach it.
Yes, sir.
Now let's talk about with the defense. Now you said personnel changes as far as, or matching up personnel and how you match up against your opponent. Is that the main reason, or why do we want to run a multiple front defense? Why not just line up in something where everybody's comfortable in their position every week?
Well, the main reason, like you said, Joe, is personnel. Everything's personnel with us. We play the matchups. If we got a team that they're going a lot of 4 wide, and say we want to play man, we want to have guys that can play man against their 4 wide. Or if, we're playing a pro I team, we want to be in the best front that gives us the best chance against the pro I. And it's all about matchups for us. And like I said, the thing that makes us, multiple but simplistic at the same time is that we're running the same things just out of different fronts, So it's all about matchups for us, It's all about, we see different stuff from week to week. I mean, primarily we see a lot of spread teams, but we do see wing T teams. We do see pro I teams. We do see pistol teams, We've seen a lot of different offenses, in our past 3 years.
Now, when you're putting all this together, you're using different personnel or different players from week to week as far as the kids that are playing your 3-3 stack. How many of those players change compared to your 4-3, let's say, or is it just going to depend?
It just depends, our nickel package, which is what we call our 4-2-5 package. We typically have, 2 backers, a 2-backer box, and, a hybrid type player. In our 4-3, we're going to have, 3 true linebackers. In our 3-3 stack, we're going to have our 3 backers. But then that hybrid player, those 2 hybrid players playing those edge positions. Mm-hmm. Our dime package, we're going to have more guys more suited to be able to play the pass. It's just all about what a team is trying to do to us from week to week. So that's kind of really how it boils down to us on how we determine, what we're going to do that week and what we're really going to work on.
When you are preparing, let's start with defensive linemen, because there are some different skills. When you're preparing defensive linemen to play a head-up technique compared to a shade, an inside shade, an outside shade, what kind of things do you do to get your defensive linemen ready to play these different techniques?
One of the things we try to do is we try to, really, a lot of it starts with film. We show them, this is what they're doing and this is what they're trying to do to you. And, of course we meet before we meet with the kids to, kind of determine what we want to do that week. And, when we meet with, our team, and we'll tell them like, hey guys, this is what they're trying to do, and this is what we feel like we're going to be best, suited to beat this. Now, what it really boils down to at the end of the day is how comfortable they are in doing it. So that's what it's all about for us at the end of the day. How comfortable they are in doing it will really determine, how much of what we, quote unquote game plan, how much of it we actually do. If the kids aren't comfortable in it, then it's not going to work anyway. So, we try to say, okay, well, this week we want you, say, our defensive end play is mainly, like you said, a 6 technique head up on tight end. And say, this next week we want him to play a 4-eye. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't feel comfortable in the 4-eye, then, we're going to go back to something where he feels more comfortable in, because, at the end of the day, you can have the world's greatest game plan drawn up, but if the kids aren't comfortable, it's not going to really work anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things that I think people worry about with these multiple fronts is that, yes, and I think that's one thing that we may be kind of saying the same thing. Those kids are not going to be the greatest 6 technique in the world, because he's also a 5 and he's also a 9, and he's doing a lot of different things. But at the same time, when you're going into play somebody, they don't know if he's going to be a 6, a 5, you could be in a 3-3 stack, you could be in a 4-3. They don't really know what you're going to be in either, and that kind of helps that kid play the position, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It really does.
Now, how much confidence do these kids get in? Are they allowed to have a little bit of freedom at that position or in the things that they're doing? Are they kind of, allowed to go out there and just play somewhat?
It depends on what we're doing from week to week. I mean, sometimes we'll have weeks like when we're playing the 3-3 stack or we're playing the 3-4, depending on what type of offense, if it's a heavy run, if it's a heavy run team, then we want to be really disciplined, sound in what we do. If they're a heavy pass team, we'll kind of say, hey, look, beat the guy in front of you, because we're trying to get, a pass rush. So that has a lot to play into it. Just depends on who we're playing from week to week. The thing I can say about us at Huff, our kids are really, really smart. They pick up things really well. So, what we tend to do is throw a lot at them on a Monday and see how much of it they can really absorb and how much of it they really understand. And then we just kind of go from there. We throw as much at them as we can. And then we just kind of go from there, whether, they can pick up this or pick up X, Y, Z or whatever it is. Over the past 3 years, we've realized that they pick up things, fairly easy. So we got us playing a 6 technique 1 week, most of the games, adjust pretty well to playing a 4-eye the next week, or a head up 4 or whatever it is we have them doing, so we've been blessed in that sense. Our kids can pick up things pretty easily.
Well, let's kind of go through the game plan and the preparation here, because it sounds like throughout the week things can change a little bit. So let's start out when you first start getting the film. What kind of things are you looking for, or what might put you in, say, a 4-3 versus a 3-3 versus a 3-4 Okie? What would put you in different mindsets?
Well, like I said, we meet on Saturday mornings to always watch Friday night film, and usually we'll already have next week's opponent's game film because we try to get with them the night before, on huddle and talk with them and say, hey, coach, we want to trade the film as soon as we can. So, we'll watch last night's game film on a Saturday morning, and then we'll always watch some of the next team's film that same Saturday morning. And then after we let our players go, the coaches will meet. And basically we're just looking for, what are they trying to do? If they're a spread team, are they running? Are they passing? What are they trying to do? If they're a wing T team, are they running the trap? Are they running the buck sweep? What is their bread and butter? What are they trying to get accomplished? If they're a pro-I team, are they running tower? Are they running counter? Are they running zone? Are they play action a lot? So we really just try to break down what it is they really do well and what they're trying to do. And then after we do that, we kind of determine what do we really feel comfortable in running based on what they're doing. If they're a pro-I team and we feel good in our four-man front in a 4-3, situation, that's what we'll go into Monday installing. Say it doesn't really, look as good as we like, then we might, not scrap it, but then we'll kind of say, okay, well, let's see how the 4-2-5 package looks against this, or let's see how the 3-3 stack package looks against this. It's for us, it's all about doing what's comfortable for the kids, because that's what matters the most. You could have the greatest game plans on the planet, on paper, but if the guys aren't comfortable in doing it and really understand what you're doing, then none of it matters at the end of the day anyway. And that's what we've always prided ourselves on, doing what our guys are comfortable in doing and what they're 100% confident in. If they're 100% confident in doing it, then we feel good about it. And that's what it matters the most for us. So, if we're playing a spread team, we might say, hey, look, we're going to play our Okie package this week, which is our 3-4 package. And if come Monday install, we feel good about it, we're looking good in it, then we'll keep that. That's what we'll say. We'll say, hey, look, we're going to stay with the Okie. Tuesday, it doesn't look so great. We'll mix in another package just to see how it looks. But by Wednesday, we'll definitely have, exactly what we're going to try to do, because we just want to be really, really good in whatever it is we choose to do. Whether it's a 3-3 stack, the 4-3, the 3-4, 4-2-5, whatever it is, whatever type of front we want to run that week, we want to be really good in it, and that's what it's about for us.
Now, how many fronts going into a game, when you've got the game plan ready for Friday night, how many fronts are you expecting to run during a particular game? Do you always plan to sit in one front, or are you able to change throughout the game?
Well, we're able to change. We don't never try to go into a game, overthinking ourselves as far as, saying, well, what if they do this? Of course we have the counter to if, they want to do this, but they decide to do something else. But we don't go into the game overthinking ourselves saying, well, what are we going to do if they do this? And then, we say, okay, look, we need to, primarily first, we need to shut down what it is they're trying to do. If they're trying to run a lot of power, we need to run what front gives us the best job to shut down power. They're trying to run a lot of inside zone, read. We need to be in the front that gives us the best chance of shutting down inside zone. So for us, initially, it's about shutting down what, they initially want to do. What is their strong point? What are they really, really trying to get accomplished on offense? And that's what we'll really start things from and then branch out from that. For us, it's like this. If it's 3rd and 14, very rarely gets in our 4-3 formation. We're going to be in our Okie down formation is what we call it. And, our Okie down formation, all it is, it's a 3-4 formation, but our two edge players are pretty much safety EV types. We're going to play, just our regular coverages out of it. So a lot of it is matchups. We tend to play the matchups a lot, based on how much they run a certain formation or a certain set or a certain play. So we're trying to basically make sure we match up well with what teams are doing, specifically because, we're not blessed with, the most gifted athletes, at our school. So, for us, it's really about matchups and trying to, make sure those matchups match up well, because when the kids feel good about the matchups, then, everything works itself out.
When you come in and you do your game plan Saturday, Sunday, you've got your game plan set up, kids are coming in on Monday, how much of each week is selling them on this is the game plan for these guys? You know, how do you have to sell them on this? We got the right one this week.
Not really, honestly. Our kids, they really buy in pretty easily. If we get them bought in by the time we play our first game, then whatever we choose to do, from that point on, they pretty much roll. If we say, hey, look, the 3 backs can give us the best chance this week, they're all for it. They all kind of play for each other. We tend to weed out the guys that, maybe say he's only exclusive in a 4-3 package, and we're going to play a lot of 3-4 this week, and, he's a little upset because he's not playing because we're running a 3-4. We tend to weed them guys out early, because those are the type guys, that they don't help you. So, our kids, if we go in and we tell them, hey, guys, we're going to run a 5-2 this week, they buy in. So it's pretty easy for us, It's pretty easy, selling them on the game plan. So I can say we're just blessed in that aspect that, it's very easy to sell them on what we want to do.
I want to ask a couple more questions. I want to get into your linebackers. We started on the defensive line, but I really want to get that game plan, how that game plan comes together. Back to the linebackers. Moving linebackers around is one of the things that, especially when I was coaching at a 4-2-5, I always wanted them to be in the same spot. But now I move them around more, and they seem to be more comfortable with it than I was. How do your linebackers? What are your linebacker reads and keys, and how do they change based on fronts?
Well, in our 4-2-5 package, what we have is, what we've called it is we have a Mike backer, who rarely moves around, and we have what I've called is the bandit backer. And I always tell the bandit backer is he's the guy that has to make us right. And our extra safety, we call him the star. So, when we're doing our install during, this time, during the spring, I always tell those two guys, hey, look, the bandit and the star have to make us right. Meaning they're the guys that have to make all the adjustments as far as if it's trips to the right side, trips to the left side, tray formation, whatever it is, they're going to be the guys moving around a lot. We don't want everybody moving around. Mm-hmm. So from a linebacker standpoint, our bandit backer, he's pretty much a 4-3 wheel backer is what he is. We want him to be, pretty athletic. We want to feel confident putting him in coverage. We want to feel confident if we want to play man-to-man. In our man-to-man, he's probably going to be matched up with, something out of the backfield 9 times out of 10. But we want to also feel confident if he's on a slot. So we try to have, a very athletic type there. Our Mike backer, we cater everything to him as far as, he's the last guy we want in coverage is the way I always explain it to the guys. I always tell the guys, look, guys, think about matchups. The Mike backer is the last guy in coverage. If he doesn't have to be in coverage, then we don't want him in coverage. If he's in coverage over the bandit backer, something's wrong. So they do a good job on, adjusting around them and getting ourselves lined up around them. Our Mike backer, he's a Mike backer. The same Mike backer you want to have in a 4-3, that's what we have in a 4-2-5. He's downhill run blocker. In the coverages we play, he's not going to have to do a ton. In our cover 4, the way we play it, he's not doing a lot. The most he has to do is if we're playing 2 dog. If we're playing, cover 2 man, he'll have to be matched up on a guy, that's probably, pretty athletic. But other than that, he's not doing half a ton. I always play them guys in 30 techniques. They're going to be outside shade of the guards. And, sometimes we play a lot of an even front, and we'll stem to an over front. So we'll line up in front. And, our 2 tackles will stem to an over front, on the snap of the football or very late in the snap count, whatever it is. So we always try to set those 2 guys up for success. Like we always tell our secondary guys, we want these guys to be able to focus on run before they have to worry about the pass. We always want to be able to have a 6-man box if we can. So, that's what it's about, a lot of it for us, because we don't have, the most athletic linebackers on the planet. So we try to do everything to protect them.
You mentioned man coverage, basing out of cover 4, playing some man coverage, and it's all personnel, obviously. How much man coverage are you playing compared to cover 4 and some of the different coverages?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Joe. I'll be honest. The past 2 seasons, I haven't played a ton of it. Over the past 2 seasons, we probably played, if I had to take a wild guess, maybe 30 snaps of it over the past 2 seasons. Last year we played a little bit more of man coverage because we've been able to. Fortunately, we're blessed coming into this season. We have 2 really good corners. One of the guys is being recruited by the University of Alabama, and the other guy is, he's getting a lot of love from schools here in North Carolina, like NC State and Chapel Hill and those places. Mm-hmm. So we're a little blessed at the corner, and we got pretty good safety, so we're a little more blessed to be able to play some man-to-man this year. This past spring, so far, this is the most man coverage we played. But we really like man coverage mixed in with the way we play cover 4 because it's a great change-up, and it really meshes well together with the way we play cover 4 and when you play man. It really meshes well, so we want to be able to do more of it. And like I said, this spring we've been able to do a lot more of it.
Yeah, it's nice when a couple kids who can play some man coverage come around.
Absolutely, because I'm telling you, it takes a lot of gray hairs off your head.
Absolutely. Now, the one other thing we haven't talked about yet is your blitz packages. How much blitzing you're doing, and how do the blitzes translate from from front to front?
Well, I've always tried to study blitzing. I've always tried to get with different coaches who've been successful at blitzing. I've talked to college coaches, and they pretty much told me the same thing, all of them. And basically, my blitzing philosophy is this: we got to know why we're doing it, how we want to do it, and when we want to do it. Those are the 3 most important things. We got to understand, why do we want to blitz? Are we trying to stop the run? Are we trying to stop, the sprint out? Are we trying to stop this? Like, what are we trying to stop? Then we got to understand. We got to figure out why we want to, or when, what type of protection are they running? Are they slide protection? Are they man on man? What are they doing? Then we got to figure out when, when do they run this protection? When do they run that protection? So, the thing we've prided ourselves on is having a couple blitzes. We probably have maybe 6 man pressures, 6 zone pressures. But the thing we do, Joe, is we really, really, really practice them. I tell everybody, if you want to be good at blitzing, practice them. You got to practice them. Find ways to practice them. And the way we've done that is we have a pre-practice blitz period. And all we're doing is we're lining up the trash cans, and we just have our front 7 guys, our D-line and linebackers, just running through our blitzes. That's all we have to do. We just line up the trash cans, lining them up, calling out the blitz, and just have them going through the blitz, going through the cadence, going through the blitz. And we do that pre-practice for about 10 minutes maybe. Then we go to inside period, and if we have 30 snaps in inside, easily 5 to 8 of those we're going to blitz on, just to work on blitzing against the run. Because I've always felt like if you want to blitz, you got to be able to adjust to the run. People want to blitz just to stop the pass, but what if they run on you? You got to be prepared for that. We've always, what we tell our kids is we're going to put ourselves in stressful situations in practice, so when game time comes, we're not all looking around each other for the answer. We want to do that in practice. So in the game time, it's just routine. So inside we try to practice a couple blitzes. We get to 7 on sets at 7. If we have 30 snaps, we're going to blitz on, 5 to 8 of them, just so our DBs can get a better look at how we want to play the coverage to a certain blitz. And then we have a blitz pickup period that's about 10 minutes long, and we do nothing but blitz the entire period, and the offense works on their screens and their hot reads and all those things. And then, of course, when we go team period at the very end of practice and goal line, we also work on our blitzes. But like I always tell people, blitz, if you want to blitz, you got to practice it, because I've always felt like it's something that it's just like coverages. If you want to be good at it, you got to practice it. You just can't, you can have the world's greatest blitz drawn up, but if you're not practicing, you're not working on it, you're not going to get better at it. So, we've always prided ourselves on being able to practice it, whatever our kids feel comfortable in. We go into a week, we have 12, 13, maybe 15 blitzes total. Going into a game week, we may use 4 of them at the most. It all depends on what a team is doing. So blitzing is all relevance for me. It's all about, what a team's trying to do and what we're trying to get accomplished by blitzing. And all our blitzes are pretty much the same.
All right, and now before we go, I want to go back to one thing that you said that I think is really important: how to blitz against the pass and the run. Give us a tip on coaching those guys to blitz against the run compared to when we're blitzing against the pass.
Well, like I said, blitzing against the run is different because when you're blitzing against the run, it's all about sound gaps. It's all about having gap integrity. So, what we teach our guys when we blitz is, make sure your gap is covered first. If nothing else, have your gap covered. If your gap is covered and you don't get there, I'll be a happy man because, if they decide to run power or draw or counter or something on a 3rd and 15 and, you're not blitzing, the right gap you're supposed to be in, then we get gutted. So, what we do to practice that is that, we'll run our blitzes, in the team period or in the inside period, and we'll make sure, I have a great relationship with our head coach. I'll make sure he runs the most stressful runs you could run to get the blitz. I'll make sure he runs the speed options, the outside zones, the things that can be most stressful to you running a blitz. Like if you're running a double A gap blitz and they're running outside zone, we try to practice these things so our kids are prepared for these situations. Blitzing against the run is way different because blitzing against the run, you got to kind of slow yourself down a little bit when you get across the line of scrimmage and, find the football. When you're blitzing pass, you're just trying to get to the quarterback. So, it's a little bit different situation. And it gets tough because you never know if a team's going to run or pass. You like to feel like if it's 3rd and 15, they're going to try to pass. But, the reality is they could run. And we just try to prepare our players for those situations.
And I think you and I are both big fans of the double A gap blitz, but every once in a while that outside run kills that thing. Absolutely. But like I said, that's why we try to practice it so our kids aren't completely just blind to it. And it goes back to coaching. We're not going to put our kids in a situation where if they're running inside zone, if we know they're a big outside zone team, we're not going to run a double A gap blitz, of course. But, we'll run it a few times in practice just to, make sure and coach them up on how we would line up and how we would play it if we did get in that situation. Well, Coach, I really appreciate you joining us here on Football Coaching Podcast. It's been great. I know a lot of guys out there are looking at doing things with multiple fronts and just, we like the idea of being able to give people different looks and give people kind of a, especially young offensive linemen, if they're not sure what they're going to see, that can slow them down a little bit.
And that's another big part of blitzing, Joe, that I think people don't look at. You got to really study the lineman, find out, what type of protection they're running, when are they running that protection, who's the guy, who's the weak link on the chain. I've always felt like, if you really want to be good at it, you got to do these different things. You can't just run blitzes because you think it looks good on paper. That's not how it works.
Well, Coach, if other coaches want to get in touch with you and talk more about some of the things you're doing defensively, what's the best way for them to do that?
Best way to do that is, like I said, I'm on Twitter, at Coach Byrd, _ Coach Byrd, BYRD, _ I'm always willing to talk football. My email, if you ever got questions or you ever want to talk about anything, is my last name, Byrd, BYRD, Jamelle, JAMELLE, @gmail.com. If you want to email me, if you want to call me or text me, I'm always open to that as well. 704-421-6973. So, whatever way you want to contact me, if you ever got any questions about what we do, or if you just want to talk football and bounce ideas off of me, I'm okay with that because I'm always willing to bounce ideas off of other guys because I always, want to know what other people are doing to give me a little bit of justification for what we do. So,
yeah, it is always nice to go back up.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm always willing to talk, whenever.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Coach. It's been great, and I thank everybody for listening to the Football Coaching Podcast.
No problem, Joe, man. Thank you so much for having me.
FootballDefense.com is the largest collection of defense football coaching articles on the internet. Every defense, fronts, coverages, blitz packages, drills. FootballDefense.com is used by coaches at every level. If you're a football coach, learn and win with FootballDefense.com. Get a free 3-5-3 video series when you visit FootballDefense.com today.